In 1981, the Philadelphia Eagles took the field as champions of the NFC. In just 5 seasons, the Eagles had lifted themselves from the depths of the National Football League to its summit. The Eagles had worked hard to earn their championship. Now they eagerly awaited the opportunity to defend it.
We are a veteran team now. We're no longer, you know, the free agents and the 7th-round draft choices and the nobodies that they've been trying to call us for the last few years. We're not that anymore. We're a veteran team, we're an experienced team, and we can handle this type of stuff.
We prepare to win, we expect to win.
The Eagles began the 1981 season with nothing but wins, sustaining a pace that made them the best team in professional football. Becoming a champion is one thing. Staying a champion is quite another. The Eagles enjoyed their finest start in team history, yet did not recapture a championship. Despite a record-setting year from the offense and pro football's best defense, a late-season slump sent championship hopes plummeting to earth. It was the worst of times, the best of times, high times, hard times. In 1980, the Eagles brought a championship to Veterans Stadium. But now, a new season beckoned, and previous accomplishments were set aside for the immediate task at hand, defense of the NFC crown. Dick Vermeil and his coaching staff made it clear that there would be more work, not less, if the Eagles hoped to keep the title in Philadelphia.
All right, guys, defensive team is up, guys. The big thing is get out there right off of that first series and let them know who you are and why we're here today, to get after their ass. Let's go, come on.
The Eagles broke from the starting blocks with 6 straight wins, relying on a variety of runners who contributed in a variety of ways. Fullbacks Perry Harrington and Booker Russell blended with halfbacks Billy Camfield and Louis Giamona, number 33, to form an efficient backfield contingency. When Giamona and 3 Eagle fullbacks were lost to injury, a 10th-round rookie pick named Hubie Oliver stepped right in. It was Oliver up the middle and Camfield through the air as number 37 enjoyed his finest year as a receiver out of the backfield. The skills provided by Philadelphia's runners were invaluable. The contributions of Wilbert Montgomery were indispensable. Montgomery's 1,400 yards made him the club's leading rusher for the 4th straight year. He caught nearly 50 passes and led the team in touchdowns. In a Philadelphia offense that usually cooks opponents slow and easy over a low flame, Wilbert Montgomery is one Eagle who can burn teams with a big play. In 1980, Montgomery missed all or part of 6 games with injuries. This season, he was absent only once. The reason was simple.
Previous years, it was tough for me to do because, week after week, because I was taking such a tremendous beating. This year here, I prepared myself in the off-season by getting on weights, and I worked on weight training pretty hard, and I got myself in pretty good shape so I can take the pounding a lot more with ease this year, and it really paid off in the long run.
Opponents keyed on him, beat on him, pounded on him. But ultimately, they could not stop him. By enduring such punishment, Wilbert Montgomery showed that he may be the one man in football whose heart is bigger than his body. Montgomery ran behind the offensive line of Morris, Walters, Sizemore, Baker, Perot, and Kenny, a unit that pass-blocked with equal efficiency. Only one NFC team protected its passer better than the Eagles. Behind the shield, quarterback Ron Jaworski turned to some familiar names. Number 85, wide receiver Charlie Smith, logged another solid performance in 1981. Near the goal line, Jaworski looked for tight end Keith Crefley, number 84, who responded with 5 touchdown catches in crowded quarters. Philadelphia's biggest pass target was also its best. Number 17, Harold Carmichael finished the 81 campaign with 1,000 yards and a team-leading 61 receptions. With these totals, Carmichael became the 9th leading receiver in NFL history. This, then, was the Eagle offense, a unit that made many contributions in the early games, particularly during 2 wins in prime time. The first came on a Thursday night in Buffalo, where the pride of nearby Lackawanna came home and made good. Ron Jaworski fired 2 touchdown passes as the Eagles knocked off the previously unbeaten Bills 20-14. 2 weeks later at Veterans Stadium, the primetime foes were the Atlanta Falcons. In 3 previous meetings, the Falcons had won, but that string was snapped thanks to 3 field goals by kicker Tony Franklin and a clutch catch from Charlie Smith.
Jaworski is back. He's being chased. He unloads, going deep down the far side. A diving catch, and then the ball is caught, but they say he had possession. Touchdown, Charlie Smith.
The Eagle defense took over and did not allow the conference's highest scoring team a single touchdown. The victory made the Eagles 5-0, alone at the top of the National Football League.
It's fun being the head rooster, per se. It's fun being the guy that everybody doesn't like. Before we used to go into games, everybody said, oh, them Eagles, they're tough. And they're nice guys, they used to beat us. And we'd go home and say, oh, we played them tough, but we lost. But now it seems everybody doesn't like the Eagles anymore because we're winning. And hey, I like being the head rooster in the hen house.
Philadelphia burst a few more balloons in Week 6 with the 50th win of the Dick Vermeil era, a rout of the New Orleans Saints. The special teams helped start the Eagles' victory. Then the defense sewed it up.
Back to throw is Manning. He's looking. He's swung down. The football comes loose. It's picked up by LeMaster. 35-30, 25-20, 15-10, 5. Touchdown, French LeMaster.
The league-leading Eagles now stood at 6-0, the best start in team history. Not even divine inspiration could keep the Eagles from going unbeaten. And their first losses finally came at mid-season. But then the Eagles responded by rolling up lopsided victories against the Cardinals and Colts. In St. Louis, the Eagles exploded for 52 points, the highest output by a Philadelphia team since 1953. A week later, Eagle punter Max Runniger did not have to kick once, as Philadelphia racked up nearly 600 yards in total offense and a team record 34 first downs. It all meant an easy 38-13 victory over the Colts. Philadelphia's record now stood at 9-2, but then the season began to unravel. A bitter loss to the Giants, a setback against the Dolphins, and suddenly the Eagles, the team that hadn't lost, was the team that couldn't win. Four straight defeats ended hopes of a division championship. But finally, the Eagles said, enough. In the last week of the season, Philadelphia assured itself of its fourth straight trip to the playoffs with a dismantling of the St. Louis Cardinals. The defense did not permit a single point, and the offense put on one of its best performances of the year as the Eagles romped 38-0. The regular season was over. The second season was about to begin, and the fans were ready.
Let's get a little cheer! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
On a cold and drizzly December day, the Eagles hosted the New York Giants in the first round of the playoffs. Philadelphia hoped to gain quick advantage, but instead, it was the opportunistic Giants who jumped to an early lead.
The Giants up 20-0 here in the first quarter. Unbelievable. But you can't blame the offense today. They have only been on the field for 3 plays and a punt. So their comeback ability will be tested here in this wild card playoff game at the Vet.
The Eagles could easily have folded, but did not, as they began to carve a path through the rugged New York defense.
Jaworski to throw. He's loading up. Fires for Carmichael. Touchdown! Harold Carmichael. Jaworski right on the money. Jaworski looking over the defense, sets Trefley in motion to the far side. He gives off to Montgomery, who comes across the 5, breaks a tackle and runs in. Montgomery runs in for the touchdown.
Philadelphia scored 3 touchdowns, but it was not enough. The Giants won, putting an abrupt ending to the Eagles' season. In high times and hard times, one thing never wavered: the excellence of the Eagle defense. For the second straight year, Philadelphia boasted the best defense in the NFL, allowing the least yards and fewest points. The key to their success lay in the concept of team defense, where all hands contributed.
I've got 20 guys on the roster, defensive players, and I've got 20 interested defensive players from the standpoint that they get to play, and they know that you know, they're going to be spotlighted sometime during the afternoon. So that's a great benefit, and I think that that's helped us more than anything.
The heart of Philadelphia's defense is its punishing front line. Carl Hurst, Ken Clark, Claude Humphrey, Bigfoot Harrison, Greg Brown, Leonard Mitchell, and Charlie Johnson make up the hardest charging unit in all of football.
And our defensive line set the tempo. There's times where I find myself running as hard as I possibly can, trying to catch Carl Harrison, who's the defensive end, who's outweighs me by 50 or 60 pounds. And it's just the intensity of our defensive line getting to the ball makes it really exciting for everybody else to be part of.
Pursuit, hard and relentless pursuit, the byword of the Eagle defensive line. And whatever they did not stop was quickly gobbled up by linebackers like Pro Bowler Jerry Roberts. Joining Robinson was the unit's coach on the field, crafty veteran John Bunting, number 95. Bunting shared the left side with Reggie Wilkes, number 51, while inside, Al Chesley faced the challenge of filling the big shoes of Eagle great Bill Berkey. Chesley responded by leading the team in tackles. And then there was the all-pro performance of one of the team's most dependable players, number 55, Frank LeMaster. In 1981, LeMaster finally shed the underrated tag, played the best football of his career, and was named to the Pro Bowl. Even on a great defense, LeMaster's performance was something special. Behind the front seven was a mean and stingy Eagles secondary. They gave up fewer yards and gave out more hard licks than any other unit. To the Eagle defensive backs, every play was a personal challenge to their skills.
I'm a long range. You know, everybody's going to see what I do. If he catches it, everybody's going to say, number 46, they caught it on him. But if I knock it down, everybody's going to say, boy, that guy can really play.
Philadelphia's defensive backs were very good indeed. Edwards, Wilson, Logan, Blackmore, Shira, Ellis, and All-Pro Roynell Young held opponents to an impressive 48% completion average. allowed only a dozen scores, and led the entire league in pass defense. Over the last 5 years, the Eagle defense has been the most miserly in football, and it expects to be just as good in 1982 as the team prepares to reclaim its title to a championship.
You get used to success, and all of a sudden it's taken away from you, you go down. Well, we can come right back up again.
The Eagles' philosophy under Dick Vermeil has been total team commitment to get the job done. And, you know, we're a we team. We're not an I team, and no question we are a solid football team.
Anyone who questions the ability of the Philadelphia Eagles needs only to look at the numbers. Over the last 4 years, only 2 other teams have posted better records. Only one other team has made the playoffs as many times, and no team can equal the accomplishments of the Eagle defense. In 1981, only 2 conference foes scored more points than Philadelphia. The Eagles' rushing output was their highest in 22 years. And Ron Jaworski has started and won more games in the last 4 seasons than any other quarterback in the NFC. Shed no tears for these Eagles. They will be back, more determined than ever to prove that they are one of pro football's finest teams.